So, I again am trying something different, and I will get to the picture that is with me in a second. But this is not the first time that you've seen this, but it is the new start of another bit of secondary content and another bit of my attempt to make a secondary series on this channel as we look back, in the past, and we think what could have been. This picture was taken during an interview spot between Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, J.J. Dillon, and the Midnight Express. You see Arn Anderson, Jim Cornette, Bobby Eaton, and Stan Lane. Bobby Eaton is far away from the camera next to Jim Cornette. Stan Lane is close up to the camera, and Arn Anderson is on the opposite side, of course. This is from the early days of the feud between Cornette and Cornette's Midnight Express and J.J. Dillon's Four Horsemen. It is the first time that these two teams had ever interacted, had ever been doing anything together, and it was something brand spanking new and one of the shots in the arm that Crockett Promotions needed at the time. But the fact of the matter is, it didn't happen. At the time, Crockett Promotions needed a shot in the arm after a lackluster 1987 and what happened in 1986 with Magnum TA's injury, and just bad luck, bad luck, bad luck, especially after the underwhelming output from Starrcade 87. Crockett Promotions needed something to bring back business, and with Ric Flair and Lex Luger finally turning things around on top, it was the Midnight Express versus Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, what would also help start turning things around for Crockett Promotions. But in the end, it was too little too late, because the company did get sold to Turner Broadcasting as a safety net for the Crockett's to save their retirement and to not see the company possibly go bankrupt, because stability was anything but what the company had. But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is what could have been in the rivalry between Arn Anderson, between the Four Horsemen and the Midnight Express. Some background on this feud. Both tag teams, I should say, both tag teams were the measuring stick of the tag team division within Jim Crockett Promotions at the time, and Midnight Express had fought all challengers, taken back all comers, as had the Four Horsemen, and there was one level left, the one rock that had not been turned over, and that was the Horsemen versus the Midnights. And it allowed Jim Cornette to have his foil with J.J. Dillon going back and forth. Cornette would make age jokes, and I believe J.J. would make spoiled jokes. And it was an interesting interaction because Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson grew up together, were long-time friends in the business, and had never feuded with each other. So it was something brand new, letting two friends finally meet in the ring. And in my opinion, I could be wrong. I could have a biased opinion here because I'm a big fan of the 1980s. But the fact of the matter is, in my opinion, Crockett Promotions had the best tag team division, with WWE second. But because of talent like the Rock and Roll Express, because of talent like Arn and Tully, and because of talent like the Midnights, I think that puts Crockett Promotions on top, because it also had Nikita and Ivan. It also had the Road Warriors. They also had the Road Warriors. They also had the Garvins, the Freebirds. Barry Windham would join the tag team division with a variety of partners. So in that case, the depth alone, Crockett Promotions had it. WWE had their top tag teams like the Hart Foundation and the British Bulldogs, but WWE did not have a rivalry like this that they could tap into and have the feud main event like it would have with the Horsemen versus the Midnights. The fact of the matter is, everything was building up. everything was building up to the to and everything was building. The houses were turning, the ratings were going up. Fans were interested and salivating at the idea of a long-term feud between the Horsemen and the Midnights because it is something they have never seen, and it is something, I guess you could say, Crockett Promotions at the time was a little bit stale and a little bit stagnated, and the company needed something to change things up, and the fans were salivating at the idea of seeing something, and this is why, when tragedy struck, it was a house show in September 1988, September 10th, 1988 to be specific, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Midnight Express were informed that they were going to win the NWA World Tag Team titles. They, at the time, were United States Tag Team titles. And the fact of the matter is, before the title victory on September the 10th, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard were here. The Midnights were here. There was the only people that were stopping the Midnights from becoming the top heel team. The only people that were stopping the Midnights from becoming the top team in Jim Crockett Promotions were their opponents on that night. It was the first time that the Midnight Express were crowned champions. It was the first time they were crowned champions. But the fact of the matter is, it was so early in that rivalry, it was so early in that feud, that it derailed the momentum because, and it wasn't the fact that the match took place so early, it was the fact that right after, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard left Jim Crockett Promotions for WWF. I do think problems with Dusty, from what I understand, problems with Dusty Rhodes played a part in Arn and Tully leaving. And maybe they just saw the writing on the wall. Maybe they didn't like the fact that the company was being bought. But I do know earlier that year, Tully Blanchard was asked by Turner executives in what should have been a private meeting his thoughts on Dusty Rhodes. He did not speak highly of Dusty, so Dusty took Tully off, banned Tully from the private jet, so Tully had to fly commercial. And because of that, that in many respects may have played a part in Tully Blanchard leaving, and Arn Anderson wanted to be loyal to his tag team partner, and he walked away as well. I don't know for certain the exact reasons. I don't really think I ever heard the exact reasons, but I do think that that played a part. Not necessarily the private jet incident, but problems with Dusty Rhodes, and maybe, just maybe, problems with the new ownership coming in and wanting to just go to greener pastures and try something else. Because if you think about it, within a year, Arn Anderson would be back in WCW. Tully Blanchard should have came back, but that's a story for a different day. And maybe another episode of this series, if you guys enjoy this. But in my opinion, this could have been a feud of the year, or if not a feud of the year, a borderline match of the year in 1988, and would have given Sting and Ric Flair, the eventual winner of the Wrestling Observer Match of the Year award, a run for its money. Because if there was more to it, not even with Match of the Year, just feud of the year, or in general just one of the top feuds of the era, and helped keep some stability, if the feud had a chance to develop like they knew it could have, and get to the crescendo, the peak, the apex of the feud, if it had the opportunity to get there, there is no doubt in my mind, with the skills that these two had and how much the fans were salivating at the time to see the Horsemen versus the Midnights, there is no doubt in my mind how much of a positive effect this could have had on Crockett's business and brought the houses back up, especially with Luger and Flair on top, with Dusty, with Road Warriors, with the depth the roster had, with the direction, with the stability that was being developed. It could have helped. But again, bad luck changed what could have been. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on this series and anything else you would like to see me cover in this series. Let me know your thoughts on this video and Also, let me know your thoughts on anything else you would like to see me cover in this series. For now, though, I'm signing off. Until next time, don't forget to think about what could have been. Because sometimes it's not a bad thing. See you next time.